The Charlie Kirk Show starts now.
Allen back in court today, and the judge says he's not being treated well. Chief Washington correspondent Mike Emanuel is in Washington with this story tonight. Good evening, Mike.
Brett, good evening. A federal judge apologized to the man accused of attempting to assassinate President Trump today for the way he's been treated by jail officials since his arrest. Magistrate Judge Zia Faroqui grilled a Washington, D.C. jail official over Cole Allen being held on suicide watch in a padded, lighted cell with no ability to make phone calls, read books, without access to religious materials or recreation time. Faroqui handled some of the January 6 cases and said about Allen, quote, "He's being treated differently than anyone I've ever observed." In addition to attempted assassination, Allen also faces 2 firearms-related charges. He faces up to life in prison if convicted. A Justice Department prosecutor said Allen told FBI agents he didn't expect to survive the assassination attempt. And in an email, Allen said he wanted to extend his appreciation to many people since he will not likely be able to talk to them again. The judge told Allen he would get him the Bible that he's been requesting. He acknowledged it is a high-profile case, but claims Allen should not be in solitary confinement. The judge is demanding an update from the Department of Corrections by 9 a.m. tomorrow if Allen will be moved to a more comfortable cell, perhaps with a window. He is no longer on suicide watch.
Because of the political violence, I think that the anti-Semites out there and the people who are racist because they know that I stand up for communities of color.
That has spiked in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Like threats against you and your family.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to overstate it, but it's true, and it's more than it was in years before.
What's the driver of that, do you think?
I think the environment, look, our leaders set the tone in this country, and I think that the President of the United States has set a tone where political violence is okay. He's advocated it himself before. It's a terrible thing. He's experienced.
The target of it, too, obviously.
That's what I'm saying. He's experienced the other side of that.
If you were actually trying to heal the country, if you were actually trying to bring people together, why would you act like this? This is one of the most important takeaways from the last couple of years. From Joe Biden's inaugural address to Joe Biden being president to his declaration of war against you, flanked by 2 Marines, red all over the place, the bad guys have never been interested in healing the land. And instead, the regime has been participating in a relentless campaign to not just destroy you, but also provoke you. As soon as the violence against Trump happens, they will justify it. Of course they will. If Donald Trump was taken out, God forbid, MSNBC would say, well, you know, you act like Hitler. Don't be surprised if somebody... that's what they would do, 100%. And they're going to not, if they can't get to Trump, if the Secret Service continues to do their job, which I pray they do, they're just going to go after the next level down. They're going to go after some of the rank and file. The man who sowed hate reaped what he deserved. That's what they're going to say. Oh, you know, he created this movement, and F around and find out is what they're going to say. No, the level of rhetoric and narrative, it's reaching a boiling point because they're running out of options.
Hearing on Charlie's legacy, and there is so much noise. I know I've said this many times before, and there will always be noise. Whenever you are over the target, there will the enemy, I mean, we're in enemy-occupied territory. There will always be noise, and there will always be people that will distract you. If myself or Charlie spent every single second going down and responding to every accusation, responding to every insult, responding to every judgment, we would get nothing done. We just wouldn't. And at the end of, Nehemiah, he basically was saying, Lord, strengthen my hands. And so I feel the same way. Like, I'm not going to ask God to remove those people from my life. It just makes me stronger. So, Lord, instead of removing these people and this noise at the bottom of the hill while I'm trying to build, just give me stronger shoulders, give me stronger hands to keep building, because that's always going to be there. That's the enemy, and that's life.
They're counting on you to stay silent. They think you won't.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shop. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
Coming from every angle with the will to deceive. Fear not. You found the place for truth. The voice of a generation that still has the will to believe in the greatest country in the history of the world. This is the Charlie Kirk Show. Buckle up. Here we go.
All right, welcome to the Charlie Kirk Show. It's Tuesday, May 5th. We're here at the Y-Refi Studios in Phoenix, Arizona. How we doing, Blake?
Oh, we're doing great because it's May 5th in Phoenix, Arizona, and it's 64 degrees out and raining.
So, yeah, this continues Blake's theme that Arizona is a fake desert.
Fake desert, rains all the time.
Too cold and rains too much.
It's probably hotter in South Dakota right now.
He's probably the only person I've ever heard describe Arizona this way, but that's why we keep him around.
Okay, it's not cooler than South Dakota right now, where it is 47 degrees.
I was going to say, we did have a spell where it was like 105 for 3 weeks.
Yeah, in like early March, and then it went back to raining for a while.
Yeah.
So,
anyways, so lots to get to today. President Trump has just blasted Leader Thune. We're going to get to that in just a second while we pull that clip. But we wanted to start the show off in a kind of more fun and jovial way, a little lighthearted way, because it's too easy. It's too much fun. And that is the Met Gala. We knew it was happening yesterday because I saw it trending on social media, but I really could care less until you see some of the costumes, which are just too good not to comment on. But let's just basically first premise this, Blake, with talking about the elitist hypocrisy of the Met Gala, where tickets cost around $100,000 per person. This whole event functions as a massive tax write-offs for millionaires and billionaires, by the way, because they can just write it off as a business expense. And they do these ostentatious displays of inequality, and they rage against the machine and the man and capitalism and Donald Trump, all while wearing massively expensive outfits, all
massively ugly outfits,
being extraordinarily rich and elitist and exclusionary in their own rights. And that's just too much fun not to comment on, Blake. You're a big Met Gala fan, right?
Well, so I will admit, I don't think... I feel like it didn't quite penetrate my head what the Met Gala was until last year. Like,
really?
It would be in the news, and I was just like, oh, okay, whatever. And then... we started covering it more consistently on this show with Charlie, and we'd react to it. And so I guess I'm vaguely aware of it now. It seems like an excuse to wear dumb outfits. But I did admit I found them pretty funny this year. I liked... I actually joked about one last night. Cardi B had some outfit where she looks like she's got kind of a bunch of polyps or tumors growing out of her.
Do we have the Cardi B?
Do we have it yet? She kind of looked like if you ever saw the 80s movie Akira, where this guy is a psychic and his body starts bloating up into a giant monster that destroys Tokyo. She kind of looks like that.
Got it. Okay. I haven't seen it yet. Hopefully the team can get it for us. But we do have B-roll of the gala, so we should put that up. Put the B-roll up. It's I think that's what's that guy's name again? The Sam something or other. He's Sam Smith. Yeah, he's the gay British singer who showed up as some sort of dark overlord or something. I don't know. It's like Maleficent. I'm not sure what it is. I guess the theme was
he looks like
fashion as art.
The stuff out of his head makes him look kind of like an exotic insect in a way.
Well, that could be it. It looks like a really tough thing to walk in. This person, not sure what's going on exactly, but we do have Cardi B coming. The B-roll of Sam Smith, him dressed as Satan. If you remember
blindfolded. Okay, there we go. There's Cardi B with all of the tumor stuff around her.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Not sure what they're going for there.
Yeah, I don't think it matters too awful much. It's just supposed to be. I think over the top is the goal. And so, I don't know. Send us your thoughts. What do you guys think of the Met Gala? And is it just are we doing the wrong thing by even giving oxygen here? That's one of the arguments. I actually think it's prime fodder for critiquing.
There we go. That one is Sarah Paulson. She has a dollar bill over her eyes. I think so. You get
capitalism blinding
they might
her.
Remember,
she's worth $12 million. By the way.
Yeah. If they've forgotten, I believe the Met Gala is where. AOC, she wore that eat the rich thing. And so similarly here, we have a person using a $100,000 ticket to wear an outfit to this fantastic display of wealth and celebrity, puts a dollar over her eyes to be like, money is ruling us. We need to have sympathy with the poor. Yeah. It's a very performative thing. It's very ridiculous.
So actress Sarah Paulson was seen wearing a dollar bill over her face to call out the 1%. Who are blinded by money. Paulson, as I mentioned, is reportedly worth over $12 million herself. So that's the kind of champagne socialism that you get at the Met Gala every year, and it's hilarious. Nobody does ostentatious like libs. Nobody does elitism like Hollywood and the entertainment class. And yet they are the ones that live behind gated communities. They're the ones that do not have to suffer under the decision-making of Democrats socialists. Oh, and there's, who's this gal? This one made a lot of headlines. I remember yesterday. This is, I'm going to get the name for you. This is Anna Rose Phillip, the first black transgender woman with quadriplegic cerebral palsy signed to a major modeling agency arriving at the Met Gala. Okay. So we actually debated whether or not we were going to talk about this person. I'd never heard of her before, or him, because it's actually transgender. But that was our decision. It's actually somebody that is a trans-identifying black person who's quadriplegic cerebral palsy. And they've somehow been signed to a modeling agency, which I find to be fascinating.
It does feel like an episode from some sort of satirical program. Like you can imagine South Park running with that 15 years ago. Obviously, we won't knock on her for the disability, of course.
Disabilities, nobody can.
The stacking thing of disabled and black and trans and, the first, and it's a very performative thing. And then
how many boxes on the, oppression Olympics can you check sort of thing?
And it just gets at the status signaling aspect of all of this, because we'll be frank, we won't knock on her for the disability, but does it make sense to sign a person with quadriplegic cerebral palsy to be a model?
No.
I can't imagine the market for that clothing is terribly large.
That's a very keen observation. I hope it's not as well. And yeah, I'm sorry that this person has this disability, but the whole projection and the virtue signaling of it is really, I think I saw one post that was like breaking barriers everywhere, glass ceiling, and I'm like, wait, it's a dude. That's a man, actually. And so the man breaking the glass ceiling, anyways, none of it makes sense, but it sure is fun to comment on and make fun of, because guess what? It's all fake, and you know what the kids say. It's all performative, and it's hard not to laugh at. Yeah. But this is like their Super Bowl for fashion. Yeah. This is the fashion Super Bowl. Blake, you would fit in wonderfully.
Certainly.
I would pay money to see Blake react live to this.
Oh man, you're gonna inflict that on me.
That's actually what we should do next year.
Oh gosh, live react.
We're gonna make Blake watch the red carpet and live react.
Spare me.
That would do numbers. Email us if you want to see Blake do live reaction to red carpet experiences. That would be great. All right, Strong Cell time. I was sick yesterday. I'm still feeling a little bit under the weather, but Strong Cell has been helping. I can tell it's powering me through. It comes with NADH, which, if you know anything about the supplement world, it's all the rage. NADH is the power source for your cells. It goes into your mitochondria, powers them. It's an enzyme. And you used to have to pay lots of money at an IV clinic to get it into your body. No longer do you have to do that. Strong Cell, a cellular function booster. Brain fog, chronic fatigue, chronic illness. If you struggle with any of those things, just check out strongcell.com. Use promo code Charlie for 20% off and a 90-day risk-free money-back guarantee. It takes about 4 to 6 weeks for you to notice fully the impact of Strong Cell, so that gives you plenty of time. If it doesn't work, can't imagine that happening, but you get all your money back. But if it does work, it could change your life, and I believe that's really what's going to be your experience with it. Strongcell.com, promo code Charlie, 20% off. We'll be right back.
This is Fubo. It's your way to watch ESPN and other top sports networks.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access. Plus, commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shop. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today.
Flash a source in the chat. I love Real America's Voice because I can watch news being delivered to me live while I chat with the family I love.
Hello, all you Ravagers. I'm Billy Howell, your old buddy Carefree Largo from the chat, and I'm thrilled to be part of the Rav family. When I want to be heard, I use my Real America's Voice.
I'm Chris from Illinois. We like to watch Real America's Voice in the War Room with Stephen K. Bannon for all the great guests. Everyone from Kerry Lake, the great Frank Gaffney, Trump coming for retribution.
Track. Caboose plays it, gets me ready, gets me focused. All right, guys, I want to tell you guys about Y-Refi Investments. We are here at the Y-Refi Studios, of course, so let me tell you about them. You've heard us talk about Y-Refi for a while, endorse their products and services. They're an amazing company, but if you are an accredited investor, you can earn up to 10.25% and that interest rate is fixed. You can invest from 1 to 5 years, and you can spread your investment over those terms to best suit your need. When you invest with YRefi, your interest is calculated daily. You get to see it right on your dashboard, and it's paid out monthly. Then they give you the option to either take that as income, as profit, or to reinvest it however you choose. So you get all the optionality you could possibly want, and you get maximum transparency. These are great people, by the way, absolute great patriots. It's the 250th anniversary of our country. We want to support patriots that love this country. By the way, did you see there was this poll that was just done about, do you think America's a force for good or for ill? And it was like over 60, I think it was 69% of Republicans consider America a force for good. And like Democrats, it was like 2%, like by a margin of 2%, believe that America is a force for evil. Oh, they have it right there? I didn't even ask them to do that. They had it ready. There you go. Yeah, was it 62%?
Admittedly, what would that look like if it was just Biden was still president?
Nah, I think GOP would still have it down a little bit. Like, we would still be positive, but maybe not as positive. To your point, maybe not as positive. Anyways, back to YRefi. For more information, call them 877-80-INVEST, 877-80-INVEST, or you can visit them online at InvestYRefi. For complete details, make sure to review the private placement memorandum and scan that QR code right there on the screen to view the disclosures at your leisure. YRefi, investing in America's future. Please do check that out. I mean, 10.25% fixed interest on any investment is remarkable. So please check that out. All right. So we have to say it's May 5th. What?
I said, first of all, we did get an email from Damon said, I don't want to watch the Met Gala. I just want to watch Blake react to it.
Bingo.
It'll two-layer reaction.
Yes.
But yes, 10-year anniversary of...
Oh, hold on. Now you're throwing me off. I want to know, would you watch Blake Neff, Mr. Fashionista, Mr. Cultural Icon himself, live react to red carpets in general or the Met Gala and just give his honest... We'd have to paywall this. Like, this could, your honest reactions would get us like canceled and fired, but it would be really entertaining. Let me just tell you. So yeah, that's what I said. Would you watch it? So email us freedom@charliekirk.com. freedom@charliekirk.com. All right. So it is May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, which means it is the 10th anniversary of the tweet heard around the world, the Taco Bowl tweet from President Trump. Throw it up there. It's important that you guys see this.
May 5th, 2016, candidate Donald Trump, out of the blue, jumping from the top rope, posts, happy, hashtag, they still use those more in those days, happy Cinco de Mayo, the best taco bowls are made in Trump Tower Grill. I love Hispanics.
That's my favorite part.
And he's got the thumbs up, and he's eating the taco bowl. For you younger people or forgetful people, we've changed so much.
Yes.
Because the reaction to this was apocalyptic.
Yes. Yeah. Now he does Jesus memes and
we don't like the Jesus memes.
No, but I mean, but that's like that's what it takes now to get people worked up. This just destroyed the media cycle for like 3 weeks. And my favorite part about it is, I love Hispanics! ! Yep. Like, it's so Trumpian. It makes it like, it's genuinely humorous to me. The best taco bowls are made in Trump Tower Grill. All right, so I think there's a fun, easy enough tie-in here. So go ahead and throw up that graphic of the Washington Post and the Save America Act here. So, little Cinco de Mayo tie-in, New Mexico. All right, we're not talking about old Mexico. We're talking about New Mexico. But the Save America Act, the Washington Post did a deep dive into what would happen state by state if the Save America Act was passed. And we do have that graphic, if you can get it up there, guys. But the point is, it was shocking. There are 2 states in particular, Nevada and New Mexico, that showed massive shifts. So New Mexico, and this is based on 2024 numbers, so we don't know what they would be today, because obviously the electorate has shifted back in the Democrats' favor a little bit, which tends to happen when you're in power. But it would go from a -4 Trump state, so Trump lost by 4 points, to a Trump 3.3% state.
And we should explain what's going on here. The justification for this is, among its many provisions, the Save America Act, it raises the requirement nationwide for voter ID, essentially, to you must possess a proof of citizenship.
You hold qualifying citizenship documents.
Exactly,
okay?
so that could be a passport, It could be your birth certificate. And the argument from critics, the argument from the Washington Post is not all Americans have easy access to those documents. And so you could imagine those people are maybe going to miss this cycle because they don't have them or they don't care enough to go and get them. And their argument is that nationwide, it's about even between Republicans and Democrats who is easy access to those. They say about 90% basically of both groups.
Of each party. But state by state, it varies.
But they say overall, their argument is in individual states, there is a partisan split. And their claim is in these swing states of Nevada and New Mexico that Democrat voters in those states are significantly more likely to not have easy access to proof of citizenship, which I know Andrew and I are raising an eyebrow here. Oh, they don't have easy proof of citizenship. What?
Yeah. So we're disenfranchising voters that don't have easy access to citizenship. You do the math on that one.
Another fascinating one, they're showing some other states that would shift to the right. They argue that Connecticut would go from 8 points Democrat to only about 5 points Democrat. So that's still blue. That's about as blue as New Mexico. But we know that in a big year,
in a swing
New
election,
Mexico could go right.
Washington
State, 10 points. So super blue to 4.7. So it's as blue as, well, again, as blue as New Mexico was.
Yep.
And that's a much more competitive state. That's a state where in a good wave year, you win their Senate race.
But some red states would get even redder. Wyoming would go from R plus 21 to R plus 25.4. South Dakota,
23 points South Dakota.
It would go from R plus 15 to R plus 22.8. Tennessee, R plus 14 to R plus 20.7. Louisiana, R11 to R plus 18.1. So there's a lot of people that probably shouldn't be voting in a lot of states. Point being, there was one state that stood out as maybe going a little bit left, and that was North Carolina. Which, to me, North Carolina is going to be the new Virginia. We're eventually. I'm very upset about North Carolina's
We need to be ready, and we need to be picking up states to potentially offset that one. That's a tough state.
North Carolina and Georgia are going to be problems for us in the future. So if you can pick up a New Mexico, if you can pick up a New Hampshire, if you can pick up and hold comfortably Nevada, if you hold comfortably Arizona, these become our red wall, and that's significant. So I think we're losing time here. I wanted to get it. President Trump just this morning, I'll preface it and then we'll play the clip on the other side of this break, took a swing at Leader Thune for refusing to nuke the filibuster to pass the Save America Act. So we're going to talk about that with Ari Fleischer, who's coming back on the show. We haven't had him for a while, so I'm excited to have him back on. And then at the top of the next hour, we have Luke Rosiak on that massive bombshell fraud in Ohio. So much more coming up. Don't go anywhere.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories of
This Memorial Day weekend, it's more than an event. It's a celebration of the United States of America and the people who love her. Join Real America's Voice and Real America's Music for Celebrate Freedom, a one-of-a-kind live broadcast and concert experience at the iconic Marty B's in Dallas, Texas. From 4 to 9 p.m., patriots from across the country will come together for an unforgettable night, honoring faith, freedom, and the spirit that makes this nation strong. The entire event is live, kicking off with a powerful hour of worship, followed by a national broadcast hosted by Bo Davidson, featuring voices you trust like Ben Burkwa, and building into a full concert experience with performances from Wynn Williams and Ram artist Deepak, Natasha Owens, Celeste Kellogg, and more. This is an American Love Fest, and you are part of the show. Tickets are free, but you must register, and they will go fast. Scan the QR code now to lock in your spot before they're gone. Celebrate Freedom, presented by Patriot Mobile and Preborn. Let's celebrate America together.
Now is the moment to put your brand in front of an engaged, loyal audience through Real America's Voice. When you advertise on Real America's Voice, you're not just running an ad, you're partnering with trusted voices like Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk, and other influential hosts. Backed by millions of monthly listeners.
What's happening? Because of a Real Voice, man. I watch it all the time.
Real America's Voice rocks.
Real America's Voice gives sponsors the chance to put their product front and center, displayed on screen and highlighted by our anchors during exclusive segments and live events.
Head to freetrumpknife.com.
This means your brand becomes part of the conversation as it happens.
Secure your spot before it's too late.
Join us today and make your brand part of the news conversation that America's viewers trust. Real America's Voice, where your message is seen, heard, and remembered.
It's Stacy from Texas. I watch Real America's Voice because I need to learn, and I know I can get the truth through Rav. God bless everyone, and always love the children. Amen.
Hey, this is SEAL Team from Missouri. I like Real America's Voice because it's real news for real people, and it's real good.
Hi, my name's Paul Foyer. I'm Foyer04 in the Getter Chat. I love rap for all the Getter, all the War Room Posse, and all of you guys. Love y'all. Bye.
Real America's Voice News Break. I'm Terrence Bates. The White House will host its latest press briefing this afternoon, but without Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, who is on maternity leave. Instead, Secretary of State Marco Rubio will take the podium today, adding to his many responsibilities. Secretary Rubio can expect to be peppered with questions about the war in Iran, specifically the ongoing negotiations for an extended ceasefire or peace deal. Earlier this morning, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, along with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, hosted a press briefing at the Pentagon. The duo reports that Project Freedom is moving forward successfully, having safely navigated 2 U.S. ships through the Strait of Hormuz. However, Iran has fired on at least 10 American warships.
The last 24 hours or so, Iran's fired at us, we fired at Iran. I'm just going to ask you more directly, is the ceasefire over?
No, the ceasefire is not over. Ultimately, this is a separate and distinct project, and we expected there would be some churn at the beginning, which happened. And we said we would defend aggressively, and we absolutely have. Iran knows that. And ultimately, the president's going to make a decision whether anything were to escalate into a violation of a ceasefire. But certainly, we would urge Iran to be prudent in the actions that they take to keep that underneath this threshold. This is about the straits. This is about freedom of navigation. This is about international waterways. This is about free flow of commerce, all the things that happened before, and only Iran is contesting.
Back here in the U.S., it's primary election day in Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan. Each state features some interesting political storylines on this first Tuesday of May. In Indiana, 7 Republican state senators who opposed President Trump's push to redraw congressional districts in the Hoosier state now face Trump-backed primary challenges. The state Senate races are typically low profile, but this cycle, President Trump and his allies have spent millions of dollars on advertising seeking to unseat those 7 lawmakers. And Vivek Ramaswamy, who gained notoriety during the presidential election, highlights Ohio's election as he seeks to become that state's next governor. That's a quick check of your headlines.
The hardest working radio show in the business. The Charlie Kirk Show.
All right, welcome back to the Charlie Kirk Show right here at the Y-Refi Studios in Phoenix, Arizona. We're about to welcome Ari Fleischer back onto the show. First time in a while. Excited to have him back on. But I want to tell you quickly about our friends over at Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile are rock stars. We love them, and they're great patriots. And it's the 250th year of our country. It's our anniversary. So support patriotic companies. What's easier than doing that with a company that literally has it in its name, Patriot Mobile? Literally just I'm getting calls right now because the phone is it's so good. But you get all the same access to all 3 major carriers. You get 100% U.S.-based customer support team. You get international roaming. You got unlimited data, hotspots, all the things that you need and have become accustomed to, but you're giving your money to a company that supports this country, your Christian conservative values that we have fought so hard for in this country, and they're in the trenches with us. They are activists just like you and I, and they're great. So support them, and you can even get 2 lines on one phone. Go to patriotmobile.com/Charlie or call 972-PATRIOT, patriotmobile.com/Charlie or call 972-PATRIOT, and use that promo code Charlie for a free month of service. Do it today. There's no reason not to. All right. Welcoming back to the show, first time in a while, Ari Fleischer. Welcome back. It's good to have you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me back. It's a joy to be back.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a joy for us too, with guys like you that came on with Charlie, and then you come on with us, and we're honored to have you, and lots to get to. Go ahead.
Andrew, if I can, just as I was preparing and thinking about the show today, I went back somehow and looked through my old direct messages on Twitter, and I found so many from Charlie to me. I didn't even remember they were on there. Wow. It was the sweetest feeling just to reread those messages, and Charlie initiated it. That's the kind of guy he was.
Yeah, he was always, if I may be so bold as to say, I mean, Charlie was a guy, I remember when we had you on the first time, and, I don't know what the current context was of it, but we were going hard in the paint against something that was probably a little uncomfortable for, guys of the Bush era and things like that. And no, I'm not necessarily saying you or anything, but I remember bringing that up with Charlie, going like, we should have Ari on to kind of talk about this. And he was like so into it. He was like, that's great. That's great. We're going to bring everybody together and get everybody kind of, anyways, he saw in you somebody that could kind of bridge different parts of the party and a good ally in that stuff. So thank you for coming back. So speaking of divides in the party, there's a lot of them, but we could go into them in some respect. I'm going to start with President Trump takes a shot at Leader Thune this morning, which is something he hasn't really done yet. So I want to play that clip and get your reaction, sir. SOT 21.
Are you disappointed in Leader?
Yeah, no, I'm disappointed. I like John a lot, but he has a couple of Republicans that are foolish people. A couple of them I like, a couple of them I can't stand, actually, if you want to know the truth.
Yeah, well, so this comes off the heels, by the way, of seeing this Washington Post report. I don't know if you saw it, Ari, but it showed that based on the context of certain states, based on the way certain voters have certain documentation in certain states. I'll let you read into why they don't have certain documentation in some states. But a state like Nevada would go R1 to like R6 point something. New Mexico would go D4 to R plus 3.3. So if you pass the Save America Act, you could actually be putting additional states in the Republican column. Again, that's based on 2024 numbers. Why are they not getting this passed? What do you want to see happen? Do you think it's possible with our current composition?
I think the simple answer is they don't have the votes to. What it requires is the elimination of the filibuster. And they have 53 Republican senators, of course. So if they lose 4 senators on that vote, they cannot eliminate the filibuster. And I think that's Thune's math. He's looked at it. He's looked in his caucus and he's asked who would vote for it. And he knows where the defections are right now. It was kind of the same problem the Democrats had when they had West Virginia senator and Arizona senator and the Democrat Party say they would refuse to eliminate the filibuster. Republicans have a small group of Republicans who won't eliminate the filibuster. That's the only reason I can think of. There's no other reason not to pass the SAVE Act.
Ari, do you think, I'm all about naming names at this point. So we've got, let's say Thune is actually in the camp of eliminating it. We've got Tom Tillis, probably, who won't go along. That's the one people aren't thinking about, I think. North Carolina, he's run sideways of the Trump admin, and so there's beef there. You got Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, and Mitch McConnell. So those 4.
Correct.
Yeah?
Correct.
Or was that 5? Let me do the math again.
That's 4. That gets you down to 49 votes to eliminate the filibuster.
And who knows what Rand Paul would do? I guess my question is, if you're Leader Thune, could you get a Tillis on board? What could you do? Here's the problem. Thune just looks like he's happy that it's failing. If I'm calling a spade, it looks from the outside, he's very content to let this die on the vine. And then basically face the parliamentarian reconciliation to see if you could do it in, moving forward then, which remains unclear. So if you're consulting the communications of Leader Thune, Ari, what do you tell him? Because right now it just looks like he's complicit.
Well, what he could do is try it. He could try to put it through and let the vote fail and then prove to everybody I tried. But I think, Andrew, you've got it right. I don't think John's heart is in eliminating the filibuster because he's kind of the traditionalist mode in the Senate. And I've had conversations with senators who want to eliminate the filibuster about this. And the counter, of course, is if we do this, the Democrats are going to do it too. And the Democrats are going to do it for different reasons. Republicans want to do it to pass policies. Democrats want to do it to maintain or get power. Democrats want to eliminate the filibuster to create new states because they need new seats in the Senate because they can't win on their current makeup of the country. They can't win enough Senate seats. So they need to create new ones. They want to change the way we have Supreme Court justices. To them, it's structural changes to get power, possibly including the elimination of or changes with the Electoral College so the popular vote wins. These are the things that Democrats want to get rid of the filibuster for. Republicans want to do things to pass policies. And that's a huge difference between why the two parties want to eliminate. So I've always been for eliminating the filibuster, by the way. My standard has been eliminate it, but you eliminate it in a way that it does not go into effect until the next Congress begins. Because I'm for fairness, and I don't like either party changing the rules in the middle of the game to grab power. Filibuster is wrong. If you can only need a majority to pass things, which is what I think it should be, put it so it goes into effect when nobody knows who's going to control the Senate. Nobody knows who's going to control it starting in January of 2027, just 11 months from now, or 9 months from now. So do it that way, and it's fair to everybody, and then whoever has power can pass things with 50%. I just don't like rigging the game in the middle. Given where we are right now, if I were a senator and this came before me, I would vote to eliminate the filibuster today, though.
Ari, the biggest struggle, I think, with eliminating it now is, as you say, we are not that far from an election. And I feel, other than potentially the SAVE Act, we don't necessarily have a lot of legislation that we'd like that's ready to go. And the chief accomplishment of getting rid of the filibuster might just be it does finally do something which we need, which is to expose which Republicans are lying to you about what they really want to do. Because, as we've said on this show many times, the chief use of the filibuster is not to protect the minority nearly as much as it is to protect the majority from votes they don't want to actually take. So we have Republicans in the Senate right now who say, I'm tough on the border, I'm really a hawk on immigration, but they would not vote to actually restrict legal immigration. They would not vote to enable mass deportations if that vote really was going to change national policy. And you can repeat that for issue after issue, pro-life issues, LGBT stuff, one issue after another. And once you get rid of the filibuster, the Senate is real again. The Senate is actually capable of passing bills that aren't just omnibus monstrosities.
We have a zombie Senate. I mean, it's basically useless.
And it seems like that's all we'll get if we get rid of the filibuster now. We'll maybe get the SAVE Act, which is good. But other than that, we don't have other big wins queued up. Whereas Democrats, they have in their think tanks, in their blogosphere, they have a lot of this stuff. They've thought about this. They've dreamed about this for over a decade at this point. As you say, policies they want to pass, for example, they want to bring back nationwide abortion. They want to make a nationwide Roe v. Wade law. That's something they would pass with no filibuster.
Puerto Rico, D.C.
But they also want Puerto Rico and D.C. as states. They want to pack the Supreme Court. They want to enact a whole swath of things whose intent is they don't need to worry about the Republicans having a filibuster-free Senate because their intent is no Republican will ever hold power ever again.
I think you're really onto something big right there. To me, one of the greatest dangers in our country right now is inaction. If you want to have an angry populace, if you want to have a group of people who just give up on government, who say this American experiment just doesn't work anymore, this great tradition we have of sending people to Washington so they do what is in the nation's interest, but nobody can do anything because of the filibuster. So inaction is the rule of the day. Inaction is the law of the land. This breeds cynicism. This breeds resentment, and it breeds people giving up. on our government. I don't ever want to be in the category of being someone who gave up on government. I will continue to cling to my ideals. And there are going to be letdowns. Of course there are. But I still want Washington to work. And the filibuster is the biggest reason Washington doesn't work. There'll be years I hate it when the Democrats have power. There'll be years I love it when the Republicans have power. But you have to have a system that can get things done for better or worse and then throw the bums out if you don't like it. That's what empowers people. That's how we, the people, have a check and balance on the people we elect. This inaction is the kiss of death for national unity and for making people believe government can get anything done.
I totally agree. I think a lot of the cynicism and the nihilism that's set in, where you get these, the accelerationists that, that used to be sort of right-coded influencers or whatever that are now saying, hey, just vote Democrat and burn it all down and we'll remake. I mean, all of that stuff is coming out of a sense of inaction. And a lot of this critique against President Trump, where they're saying it feels just the same as it did before, it's just a different party in charge, that's coming from the Senate. It's just this permanent logjam. Ari, hang right there. We've got another segment with you. I want to tell you guys about All Family Pharmacy. You hear me talking about it. Listen, I am a customer. I am a absolute believer in this new system. So if you're still doing your pharmacy the old way and you're waiting at, the pharmacy line and you're asking doctor for permission, stop. You don't have to do that. Just go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Kirk and type in the prescription that you need. It could be antibiotics, antivirals, Tamiflu, ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, all that kind of stuff, methylene blue, whatever you want. Or it could be more traditional stuff that you just need and you get from your doctor, and it's just something you take every day. You can get anything basically at allfamilypharmacy.com/Kirk. Use promo code KIRK10 to save 10% off at checkout. I am a believer. This is the new way to do pharmacy. Throw out the old model. You're going to see those drying up in the next few years because this takes the cake. It's way better. Get prepared in advance. allfamilypharmacy.com/Kirk. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Ben Cozy. Isn't traveling a pain in the neck? You're cramped, uncomfortable, and forget about
This Memorial Day weekend, it's more than an event. It's a celebration of the United States of America and the people who love her. Join Real America's Voice and Real America's Music for Celebrate Freedom, a one-of-a-kind live broadcast and concert experience at the iconic Marty B's in Dallas, Texas. From 4 to 9 p.m., patriots from across the country will come together for an unforgettable night, honoring faith, freedom, and the spirit that makes this nation strong. The entire event is live, kicking off with a powerful hour of worship, followed by a national broadcast hosted by Bo Davidson, featuring voices you trust like Ben Burquois, and building into a full concert experience with performances from Wynn Williams and Ram artist Deepak, Natasha Owens, Celeste Kellogg, and more. This is an American Love Fest, and you are part of the show. Tickets are free, but you must register, and they will go fast. Scan the QR code now to lock in your spot before they're gone. Celebrate Freedom, presented by Patriot Mobile and Preborn. Let's celebrate America together.
Now is the moment to put your brand in front of an engaged, loyal audience through Real America's Voice. When you advertise on Real America's Voice, you're not just running an ad, you're partnering with trusted voices like Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk, and other influential hosts. Backed by millions of monthly listeners.
What's happening? Because of a Real Voice, man. I watch it all the time.
Real America's Voice rocks.
Real America's Voice gives sponsors the chance to put their product front and center, displayed on screen and highlighted by our anchors during exclusive segments and live events.
Head to freetrumpknife.com.
This means your brand becomes part of the conversation as it happens.
Secure your spot before it's too late.
Join us today and make your brand part of the news conversation that America's viewers trust. Real America's Voice, where your message is seen, heard, and remembered.
Former White House press secretary and FleischerCommunications.com. Check him out. Smart guy, has been through a lot of different seasons and twists and turns in D.C., has good context, vision and context, which is what we need right now. So, Ari, there's a lot of consternation. The Iran war has not proven to be popular. Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War, just said that the ceasefire is not broken, so they're still doing the blockade. There's some tension there, obviously. Exit strategy, how to bring it to a close, unsure. But I will tell you, Art, I've spoken to so many students through our Turning Point chapters and elsewhere that all of them, I have not heard one student, Ari, not one, said that they were positive on the war. All of them are negative on it, okay? And so there's a generational divide. It's like, do you watch Fox News or do you get your stuff from social media? All right, that's the divide. So what do we do about it? And is there any remedying this before midterms? What are your bright lines of hope out there ahead of midterms?
Well, you don't want to ever conflate war with an election. You really don't want to say we need to do this or do that because of the electoral consequences. You don't go to war if you're worried about electoral consequences. You go to war to win and get home, whatever political season it is. What I hope here, and I think this is what President Trump is doing, is Operation Enduring Fury has now turned into Operation Boa Constrictor. Instead of fighting with bombs and the forces we were doing before, what we're now trying to do is just squeeze their economy through the naval blockade and hope that that leads to change inside of Iran. I'm not sure that this is ultimately going to work because it leaves the same people in charge of Iran. And I think the only solution, the right solution, is you can't leave Iran stronger. You can't let them prevail in any way in this current combat we're in. And Trump has to see it through. Trump's got to make sure that the Iran that comes next is a peaceful Iran, an Iran that changes the face of the Middle East, an Iran that we, for 47 years, have accepted as just the terrorist on the block that changes the Middle East, makes it the most dangerous region in the world. Why does it have to be the most dangerous region in the world? It doesn't. It's been because of Iran. So you've got to change the leadership of Iran. It wants to be a pro-Western country. That is where you talk about the young people in America. The young people in Iran are overwhelmingly pro-Western. They're just trapped under a theocracy that's killing them. And so the hope is that by replacing the government, forcing them out, something else comes in. And we don't have to be part of that. We can't be the ones making regime change. I learned that, having been part of what happened in Iraq. That won't be successful. It has to come within. But we can create the environment where it comes from within, and then the Middle East can be the peaceful region with a wholly new alignment of Gulf states, Israel, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and Western Europe is going to fall behind. Eastern Europe and these nations are going to be where peace and capitalism and prosperity come from in a changed world.
Yeah. And, and I think you're right. I agree with that assessment. But when you talk to, voters, especially young people, right? So we saw this historic surge to the right of young people, thanks in large part to the work of Turning Point and Charlie. But I'm telling you, as soon as the Epstein stuff happened, where President Trump kind of pushed it off and didn't want to deal with it at first, we saw a huge shift. First thing. Then Operation Midnight Hammer, we saw a huge shift. Nothing we could message on was going to change that. They didn't want war. They wanted Epstein transparency. Then we get Operation Epic Fury, compounded the impact. So I'm kind of just trying to be a realist here. Like the messaging we do with our Turning Point students, they're telling me that they don't know how to defend what President Trump has done in Iran when they're tabling on campus. So we have to sort of bake into the pie here that young people are going to go the other way here in this election. Where do we make up the ground? What can we do? And what should the messaging be domestically, specifically? I mean, affordability, housing, whatever. What do we need to do? What does President Trump need to do to try and right the ship ahead of November?
Well, I've been saying this even before the military operation began in late February, that Republicans are going to lose the House. I just think it's obvious. When you look at the numbers, when you look at historical trends, when you look at what happens in the sixth year of a two-term presidency, it's hard to escape this historical pattern. And particularly with a president whose job approval is what it is. The president's job approval is right around 40%. It's not horrible, but it's very low. And this is going to be the indications of a midterm that's going to be very hard for Republicans to keep the House. So I think we're going to be in an era of divided government in the next cycle, and it's going to set up a Wallapalooza of a 2028 presidential. And the other interesting thing about history is Republicans used to be the party that did well in the midterms because we were the party mostly of college-educated voters who turn out every 2 years to vote. Democrats were the party of a lot more blue-collar, working-class people who came out every 4 years to vote. That pattern has switched. Republicans are now much more the party of working-class people, and the Democrats are now the party of people with postgraduate degrees and college degrees. They turn out every 2 years. So tough election cycle for Republicans. I believe we're going to lose the House. Senate is right now a 50-50 shot for Republicans to keep the Senate. And it's going to just set up the biggest battle you can imagine for the presidency.
I think this is all shaping up for a 2028 absolute drag-out race. It's going to be something. But I will tell you, interestingly enough, one of these X factors, there's a lot of reporting going on that John Fetterman might go independent and caucus Republican. I don't know if I trust it because he's still very much like a Democrat socialist economically, but he's a patriot and he's a reasonable guy. He's made a lot of reasonable comments, patriotic comments. So that's an X factor that would be really interesting to see. I don't know. Are you hearing anything within the Beltway, Ari, about this?
I don't believe it. I don't believe it because I take John Fetterman at his word. He's always given his word bluntly. And he says he's a Democrat. He'll always be a Democrat. And as you point out, on abortion, on gay rights, on a host of issues, he is a more progressive Democrat. It's just that he's reasonable on Israel. He's reasonable on how you treat people. He's reasonable on saying you don't shut the government down. He's what a handful of Democrats used to be 10, 15, 20 years ago before they got drummed out of the party by the progressive movement inside the Democrat Party. There used to be about a dozen Democrats who would do and say things like him, vote the way he does on Israel and not shutting down the government. He's the only one left. So he just kind of stands out because he's such an aberration in a progressive Democratic Party.
I hope that you're wrong, but I suspect that you're right, Ari. So because he is socially and economically he's way left. You know, he always has been. Right. So we'll see, though. I am hearing conflicting reports, so we're going to keep watching that. It'd just be interesting if we end up, losing the Senate 49-51 and then Fetterman switches over to independent and caucuses Republican. That'd be fascinating. Ari Fleischer, former White House press secretary, and FleischerCommunications.com. Check him out there. Thank you for coming back, sir. It's great to see you.
Andrew, great to be with you guys. Thank you.
God bless you. All right. Luke Rosiak, the big report out of Ohio, more fraud. We'll be right back with that. Hey there.
This Memorial Day weekend, it's more than an event. It's a celebration of the United States of America and the people who love her. Join Real America's Voice and Real America's Music for Celebrate Freedom, a one-of-a-kind live broadcast and concert experience at the iconic Marty B's in Dallas, Texas. From 4 to 9 p.m., patriots from across the country will come together for an unforgettable night, honoring faith, freedom, and the spirit that makes this nation strong. The entire event is live, kicking off with a powerful hour of worship, followed by a national broadcast hosted by Bo Davidson, featuring voices you trust like Ben Burkwa, and building into a full concert experience with performances from Wynn Williams and Ram artist Deepak, Natasha Owens, Celeste Kellogg, and more. This is an American love fest, and you are part of the show. Tickets are free, but you must register, and they will go fast. Scan the QR code now to lock in your spot before they're gone. Celebrate Freedom, presented by Patriot Mobile and Preborn. Let's celebrate America together. Now is the moment to put your brand in front of an engaged, loyal audience through Real America's Voice. When you advertise on Real America's Voice, you're not just running an ad, you're partnering with trusted voices like Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk, and other influential hosts. Backed by millions of monthly listeners.
What's happening? Because of a Real Voice, man. I watch it all the time.
Real America's Voice rocks.
Real America's Voice gives sponsors the chance to put their product front and center, displayed on screen and highlighted by our anchors during exclusive segments and live events.
Head to freetrumpknife.com.
This means your brand becomes part of the conversation as it happens.
Secure your spot before it's too late.
Join us today and make your brand part of the news conversation that America's viewers trust. Real America's Voice, where your message is seen, heard, and remembered.
Sure, they spike you fast, then crash you hard. Fix it with Soldier Fuel, the official energy drink of Real America's Voice. Soldier Fuel was born in the military to solve a real problem. Troops were relying on sugary drinks that wreck performance, so they built a better option. Zero sugar and steady energy, powered by caffeine, taurine, inositol, and extra B vitamins for clean energy and focus. No roller coaster crash. This isn't gas station hype. Soldier Fuel was built alongside the U.S. military and proven where it counts. Used by American soldiers and elite special operations.
This is really good.
And when you fuel up, you give back. 15% of profits go to pro-military charities. Scan the QR code, search for Soldier Fuel on Amazon, or go to buysoldierfuel.com and get an automatic 15% off your entire order.
News break. Thanks so much for being here with us. The White House will host its latest press briefing this afternoon, but without Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, who is on maternity leave. Instead, Secretary of State Marco Rubio will take the podium today, adding to his many responsibilities. Secretary Rubio can expect to be peppered with questions about the war in Iran, specifically ongoing negotiations for an extended ceasefire or a peace deal. As Rav Washington correspondent Neil McCabe reports, that's one of many storylines coming out of the White House this afternoon. Neil joins us live now with the very latest. Neil, let's start with Secretary Rubio taking the podium today. That in and of itself is a pretty significant story. He has got all kinds of jobs over there.
Is there nothing this man can't do? Over the weekend, we saw video of him as a DJ. And what we have to remember, too, Terrence, that he is the White House National Security Advisor, and so he controls the national security staff here at the White House. He might have 150 people on White House staff reporting to him, so he is fully integrated, not only running the State Department, but fully integrated into the national security command and control here at the White House. And obviously, the questions will be about Iran and, of course, Project Freedom, which was part of the Pentagon briefing this morning, Terrence.
Absolutely. And I suspect that one of the questions that will linger is whether the ceasefire is in fact holding. The administration is saying the ceasefire is yet underway. Still this morning also reporting that Iran had attacked at least 10 ships in the Strait of Hormuz, but still saying that that doesn't rise to the threshold. That's the word the administration used for a return attack, if you will.
No president has accepted the constitutional validity of the War Powers Act. It was passed over Richard Nixon's veto. It's a 60-day clock, and then the president can request another 30 days. But if you request the extra 30 days, you're accepting the validity of the War Powers Act. Day 30 was May 1st, and on May 1st, the president sent a letter to the leaders of Congress saying, by the way, your 60-day clock stopped on the April 7th ceasefire. And so they have made the political decision that this war ended on April 7th, and General Kane referred to some of these incidents or hostile back and forth or Iranian attacks, this sort of harassing fire by the Iranians. And General Kane said that the political leadership has decided to regard this as de minimis and just harassing and nothing that threatens the ceasefire terms.
Yeah, interesting way to look at all of this. We, of course, will continue to watch as this war seems to continue to drag on. Meantime, keeping it closer to home, several elections on the docket this morning. Indiana, Ohio, Michigan come to mind. Take your pick. There are lots of storylines in each of those elections.
Yeah, I would say that the 7 state senators in Indiana that opposed redistricting for a more favorable map for Republicans, I think that is the real focus. I'm not saying it's the ball game, Terrence, but the president has said he wants those 7 Republican state senators defeated. I would call that fourth and short. It's critical, but not the game. And if he goes 7-0, I think that's a huge message to Republicans down the ballot going into this midterm that they need to run with Trump, not away from Trump, almost as an aside to the redistricting. And then, of course, you have Vice President J.D. Vance is in Ohio campaigning for Republicans, huge primary. John Huston is running unopposed in the primary to fill the 2 years left in J.D. Vance's term. And that's gearing up for that rematch, or not rematch, but rather the comeback attempt by Sherrod Brown, who's going to be running against Husted in the general election, Terrence.
Absolutely. Interesting times are afoot across the country and even across the world as the war in Iran continues to rage on. We've got several elections happening right now across the country. Neil McCabe, always good to talk to you, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you at some point in time later today following Marco Rubio's press briefing there at the White House. Thanks so much.
All right, be good.
Absolutely. That's a great check of your headlines, folks. We appreciate you being here for us. Quick break, and then we'll get you back to your regularly scheduled programming.
Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul. For 50 years, I've watched Washington.
This Memorial Day weekend is more than an event. It's a celebration of the United States of America and the people who love her. Join Real America's Voice and Real America's Music for Celebrate Freedom, a one-of-a-kind live broadcast and concert experience at the iconic Marty B's in Dallas, Texas. From 4 to 9 p.m., patriots from across the country will come together for an unforgettable night, honoring faith, freedom, and the spirit that makes this nation strong. The entire event is live, kicking off with a powerful hour of worship, followed by a national broadcast hosted by Bo Davidson, featuring voices you trust like Ben Burquois, and building into a full concert experience with performances from Wynn Williams and Ram artist Deepak, Natasha Owen, Celeste Kellogg, and more. This is an American Love Fest, and you are part of the show. Tickets are free, but you must register, and they will go fast. Scan the QR code now to lock in your spot before they're gone. Celebrate Freedom, presented by Patriot Mobile and Preborn. Let's celebrate America together.
Now is the moment to put your brand in front of an engaged, loyal audience through Real America's Voice. When you advertise on Real America's Voice, you're not just running an ad, you're partnering with trusted voices like Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk, and other influential hosts. Backed by millions of monthly listeners.
What's happening? Because of a real voice, man. I watch it all the time.
Real America's Voice rocks.
All right, welcome back, everybody. You know, Blake, there's that old expression, it's good work if you can get it. Mm-hmm. You know, it's good work if you can get it. And, you know, I think I'm going to ditch all this current gig, and I'm going to go into hospice care for my relatives. I'm going to get paid professionally to have conversation and companionship with my family.
Yeah, and I think we've seen the numbers. It seems like you could make vastly more than you could make in any sort of media job. Millions of dollars,
yes,
maybe billions eventually.
I could be a Medicaid millionaire too. You could as well. But guess what? We're not, because we're honest citizens, but there's a whole lot of people that aren't honest citizens that probably aren't even citizens in many respects. Maybe they're illegals. I don't even know what the rules are here, but we're going to find out. Luke Rosiak is an investigative journalist and reporter for the Daily Wire, and he has a new story out that he's been working on for a couple months titled Medicaid Millionaires, How the Feds Pay Immigrants Billions to Hang Out with Their Families. So welcome to the show, Luke Rosiak.
Thanks for having me. That's right. Free butlers for Somalis and Medicaid millionaires. You got it.
And so, okay, so we know all about Somali fraud in Minnesota. You focused on Ohio. So and what I find really interesting about this story, by the way, this is the first story you're dropping in a series. So there's more to come, right? But what's interesting about this story is the origin of it. So, you know, Doge was much celebrated, much attacked, part of the first 100 days and then some of the Trump administration 2.0. But they left us a little Easter egg that you went looking through to find this story. So tell us about that and why Ohio.
Yeah, one of the criticisms people had of Doge, especially on the left, is why are you guys even bothering? There's not that much spare change you can rustle up in the couch of the federal budget because most of it is locked away in defense or, non-discretionary funding. And if you look at that pie chart, a big chunk of what we spend is Medicaid. So there's they're telling us there's no waste there. I mean, you've got to eliminate programs and things. Medicaid is just paying people to go to the doctor. Well, that's because we never got to see what Medicaid was. And so Doge released data that shows who's getting paid by Medicaid, which I think is a huge deal for transparency. It's the kind of thing Barack Obama should have done when he was always going on and on about being transparent and using technology. And this doesn't reveal and invade the privacy of any patient's medical information. It's about the corporations that get rich. And that's what we're seeing here is the new welfare queens aren't the participants in poverty programs. They're the people that get paid to ostensibly serve the poor people. And those people go on to become millionaires. Now, in Ohio, they have a waiver, much like Minnesota. The root of all the fraud, most of the fraud, everything but the daycares, is these Medicaid waivers that they have in Minnesota. Ohio has the same problem. They'll pay you for what's called personal services, and that's not medical. That's why it has that weird name. It just means it's Medicaid, but it has nothing to do with the intended purpose of the program. You can just cook and clean and even provide, as you said, companionship and conversation for somebody that's like 65 years old or whatever. So that's why I call it butlers for Somalis, because it's just like somebody to literally just do your chores for you. I mean, wouldn't it be nice if we could all have that? And so the real wrinkle is a lot of these Somalis started getting paid by the government to be personal servants to their own relatives. In other words, just to hang out with their family the way that everybody has done throughout all of millennia. Maybe if your parents are getting up there and they're 65 and they could use somebody to vacuum the carpet, you do that because your parents raised you, and it's a human decency thing to do, to return the favor. Well, the Somalis found a way to actually get paid by the government for just doing normal stuff and hanging out with your family.
So you say found, but in your investigation, I know with a lot of really bad government programs, there's notoriously social workers, nonprofits who basically explain to people how to do this. Have you found any evidence of that? Like, are there, we'll just say it, Democrat operatives, either in literal form or spiritual form? Do they go around and explain to these people, or is this an organic development where the community has figured out, oh, there's money to be had and no one's going to stop us, and if they do catch it, all they might do is slap you on the wrist and you can, go back to Somalia for a bit?
Well, in part 2 of my series, which I think went up, you have a Democrat politician who actually founded a home healthcare company that got $11 million. And then he sold it and ran for office with the Democrat endorsement for state Senate. He was also involved in one of these NGOs, as you mentioned, that got like $7 million from the federal government. And so there are NGOs kind of pushing people to do these things. I talked to one guy who was getting paid by the government to help refugees sign up for other government programs. So it's not enough to give the Somalis free disability and free food. You also have to pay a different Somali to encourage the first Somali to fill out that form to get the free money. And so there's definitely a sense you go through these buildings, and in part 2 that you'll see on the Daily Wire. I go to these. There's this one landlord in New Jersey, and it's based in New Jersey, and they own 7 buildings in Columbus. Now, these 7 buildings have 288 home healthcare firms in them. Jeez. And those firms have billed $250 million over the last several years. That's just one landlord. And then the landlord goes and, is buying private planes and things like that. So there's good money in this at every level, though there's a whole economy now based on this. And, some of them are basically the ones hanging out with their family and getting paid. But then there's also a corporation that sits in the middle because the average person they can't bill Medicaid directly. You need what's called an NPI. So there are all these companies, they're really nothing more than an LLC. But they are able to bill Medicaid, and then they will pay the family member to hang out with their relatives. And you take a little cut, and it really adds up to like $1 billion a year in Ohio.
Jeez Louise. And so has Governor DeWine commented on this waiver that you're talking about that Minnesota also has? I mean, this is a Republican-run state. You would think that they would, plug these holes and these gaps in oversight and enforcement.
Yeah, he actually raised the amount that these people were getting paid recently, and he made some positive comments, talking about how important it is to give everybody what they need or whatever. So, the Attorney General of the state testified recently about how crazy the rules are. Basically, there's a law that makes it less severe to steal from Medicaid than to steal from anybody else. The Attorney General can't do any investigative subpoenas to gather information to prove fraud. And they used to have a rule that you're supposed to have a GPS on your car. If you're one of those people who isn't hanging out with your own family members, but you're one of those people that has a roster of clients that you go and visit, you should have a GPS to make sure you're really visiting them. You're not just putting down the names of your friends and getting a kickback. Well, apparently they got rid of the GPS rule, which I don't know why you would do that, because a GPS costs like $50 and you could save like $10 million. So it's also just pretty difficult to prove in a court of law that you didn't go to your cousin Abid's house some Tuesday a year ago, unless you have like footage on everybody's house. So, it's pretty difficult to track these people. I found some crazy stories by putting a lot of investigative resources into it, but I'm skeptical that the government is really able to monitor these people at all. And certainly from what you see on the ground, there's not a lot of oversight going on.
Yeah, I mean, this is all really depressing. And I saw that J.D. Vance quote tweeted your report. That's promising, as obviously he's chairing the anti-fraud task force. So hopefully they're going to take it very seriously. But it's just despicable that this is happening in a conservative and a Republican-run state where they're making it easier to commit fraud. Stay right there, Luke. We're going to continue. Got another segment with you. I want to tell you about Blackout Coffee. I'm here in the studio, so I got my full stash of Blackout Coffee. Whether you like Morning Awakening, Morning Reaper, this is the company to go to. It is a American-run company. Not that corporate burned coffee stuff, none of that. Right now, they're going all in on Coffee Club, and honestly, it's the smartest way to buy coffee. You lock in a lower price, it ships to your door on your schedule, and you never run out. And here's the best part. You get 20% off your subscription for as long as you keep it. Not a one-time discount, for as long as you keep it. No gimmicks, nothing. So go to blackoutcoffee.com/Charlie. Start your subscription today, blackoutcoffee.com/Charlie, and lock in that 20% off for life, and stop thinking about where you're going to get your next cup ever again. blackoutcoffee.com/Charlie. We'll be right back.
Do you have a life insurance policy you no longer need? Now you can sell your policy.
This Memorial Day weekend, it's more than an event. It's a celebration of the United States of America and the people who love her. Join Real America's Voice and Real America's Music for Celebrate Freedom, a one-of-a-kind live broadcast and concert experience at the iconic Marty B's in Dallas, Texas. From 4 to 9 p.m., patriots from across the country will come together for an unforgettable night, honoring faith, freedom, and the spirit that makes this nation strong. The entire event is live, kicking off with a powerful hour of worship, followed by a national broadcast hosted by Bo Davidson, featuring voices you trust like Ben Burke, and building into a full concert experience with performances from Wynn Williams and Ram artist Deepak, Natasha Owens, Celeste Kellogg, and more. This is an American Love Fest, and you are part of the show. Tickets are free, but you must register, and they will go fast. Scan the QR code now to lock in your spot before they're gone. Celebrate Freedom, presented by Patriot Mobile and Preborn. Let's celebrate America together. Now is the moment to put your brand in front of an engaged, loyal audience through Real America's Voice. When you advertise on Real America's Voice, you're not just running an ad, you're partnering with trusted voices like Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk, and other influential hosts. Backed by millions of monthly listeners.
What's happening? Because of a Real Voice, man. I watch it all the time.
Real America's Voice rocks.
Real America's Voice gives sponsors the chance to put their product front and center, displayed on screen and highlighted by our anchors during exclusive segments and live events.
Head to freetrumpknife.com.
This means your brand becomes part of the conversation as it happens.
Secure your spot before it's too late.
Join us today and make your brand part of the news conversation that America's viewers trust. Real America's Voice, where your message is seen, heard, and remembered.
It's Stacy from Texas. I watch Real America's Voice because I need to learn, and I know I can get the truth through Rav. God bless everyone, and always love the children. Amen.
Hey, this is SEAL Team from Missouri. I like Real America's Voice because it's real news for real people, and it's real good.
Hi, my name's Paul Foyer. I'm Foyer04 in the Getter Chat. I love rap for all the Getter, all the War Room Posse, and all of you guys. Love y'all. Bye.
All right, welcome back to the Charlie Kirk Show. We are joined by Luke Rosiak, investigative journalist at the Daily Wire, who's uncovered a massive fraud scandal in the state of Ohio, which, unlike Minnesota, which was easy to rail against because it was run by Democrats, including Tim Walz, Ohio's run by Republicans. And they have made it easier, according to Luke, to commit this fraud. Now, Luke, you went to this one building here, which I just thought was so telling. And it was all blacked out windows. There was nobody inside. You did on-the-ground reporting for this. Show this image if you guys can. This this building where all the windows seem like there's no, you can't see in. They've blocked them all off. What did you see here, and what is the significance of this building?
Yeah, and if people go to Daily Wire later today, they will see a bunch of different images like that, along with the lists of all the people that have are tenants inside, and they all have Muslim names, probably 99%. And when you go in the buildings, they're also probably 90 to 99% vacant. They have these little offices that say something home healthcare, something else home healthcare LLC, all these little names, but the papers are, the logos and the signs are just like printed out off of somebody. A lot of them are just the same thing. Some of the doors, like one of the doors didn't even have a doorknob. So it's like obvious that nobody's going into it. You could see mail that was postmarked like months prior. Like nobody's going to these buildings. There's smoke alarms tripping for batteries. There's stray cats in the parking lot. And it's really creepy. I mean, the hallways are there was like a whole street full of buildings like the one on your screen. And you walk down the hallway and down the hallway and down the hallway. And it's just LLC after LLC after LLC. Nobody in any of them. And it was only until recently that you could now look up in federal records and be like, now we know why that little office exists, because nobody's doing any work in there, but it's billing $5 million from the government. This one got $32 million from the government. This one got $9 million from the government. And you can peer in the window and there's not even like a desk or a computer in the office. It's just an empty room. So it was just a really creepy and I think blackpilling experience, honestly.
Is anybody doing any like oversight in the state of Ohio on this? Are there people that go out and check the LLCs to see what they're doing? What's the enforcement mechanism here?
I think they basically take their word for it. You submit an invoice that said you went to such and such person's house and you performed services like housekeeping or conversation for so many hours, and the government pays. I mean, there's really no way you can check. Occasionally, they'll do these audits that find that the companies claim to have visited people at home when they were actually in the hospital, and Medicaid knows that because the hospitals were charging Medicaid for their inpatient care. And that's really the only way they get caught, is when two different entities at once try to bill Medicaid for the same person. And so what Medicaid does then is they make the home healthcare companies just refund the money for that specific day when they got caught lying. But they just keep taking their word for it that all the other thousands of times that they say they went to somebody's house, that was definitely only the one time they lied is when they were in the hospital. The other times, it's probably fine. And so there's all kinds of clues that these people lie routinely, and some of them lied to me.
So I want to underscore a point that we made in the previous segment, Luke. This was all made possible because Doge made public what had previously been hidden from public view, and that is some of the details on Medicaid and how it was paid out, correct? So that was correct. A Doge contribution, which is huge. I want to know two things. How many of these people involved in this scheme are Somalis or foreigners? What percentage would you say? And then I'm instantly thinking of states like Washington, Maine, New York, where these are booming businesses. How much of the fraud do you think in those, how much of this industry, this booming industry, is fraud in those states?
Yeah, so I mean, I've seen it reported that the most common job in New York City is a home health care aide. And so once you understand that's being a free butler for a Somali or hanging out with your own family member, I mean, that's a fake job. It's basically UBI, but we don't say it's UBI. If you know how to work the system, you get paid to hang out with your own family in your own house. So it's like $15 billion or something in New York. It's insane. But yeah, it's really bad. I think that we're going to have to look at, rather than doing fraud enforcement, which turns into whack-a-mole. You bust Abdukar Muhammad, and then pretty soon his brother, Abdir Muhammad, pops up with a bunch of assets and a new company name. It's just so easy for these people just to start new LLCs anytime they need, and to move assets around in between their family members. They can also flee the country if they need to, like we saw in Feeding Our Future. They can wire money abroad where we can't get it. It's very difficult to track these people because they all have the same names. And to get to your point, I mean, what percentage are foreign? Essentially all of them. I mean, 99%. Like, I was so struck by that. And I think if you could take a field trip of liberals to these places, they would be very radicalized, because anybody who doesn't see the pattern here, the connection between immigration and then the exploitation at scale of these generous safety net programs that hadn't really been abused in previous years, is completely blind. It's important to make that connection, because it couldn't be more blatant. It's virtually 100% foreign. And I think it's very difficult for the government to track. I mean, how do you know the difference between Muhammad Ahmed and Ahmed Mohammed? There's a guy that owns a business whose name is just Omar. A lot of times their birthdays are just listed as January 1st because we don't know when they were born. They spell their names different ways, multiple ways within a single document.
Why are we giving somebody that puts January 1st on all their, I mean, that's the part that's frustrating. It's like, why are we not looking into it? We're just going to write $1 million checks to these people and not perform any oversight or check to verify anything. I mean, it's really infuriating. And what makes it even more infuriating is it's May 5th. It's Cinco de Mayo today. So all the libs are all over the place talking about abolish ICE, abolish ICE. Meanwhile, we've got billions of dollars just flying out the window, going to God knows where, probably back to Somalia to, fund Al-Shabaab or whatever. This is a massive domestic problem. Go ahead, Blake.
Yeah, well, I want to end on a white pill. So you have a minute here, Luke. This is a red state. What should we be changing? What could a state, in your opinion, pretty easily do to reduce the impact of this, even if we can't eliminate it without deporting 20 million people?
I think that the Trump administration needs to rescind Medicaid waivers and restore Medicaid to what it was intended to be, like basic doctor service. It's not really fair to have certain states be able to provide more services than others because the feds are paying for it 70%. And I think that's part of why the states don't care that much if it's wasted, is because it's 70% other people's money. So it's great that J.D. Vance is going to have this task force take a look. I've got a lot of really sketchy red flags for them coming out in the Daily Wire this week. But the shortest path to keeping our country from insolvency is to just stop allowing people to charge the government for hanging out with your own family. And if you do have a mom who's getting old and could use some help once a week, do it on your own, because it's the right thing to do. And that's what I think differentiates Somalis here is they don't want to do normal family tasks unless they get paid.
Luke Rosiak, great work. Keep going, man. Keep going. Shocking. We'll be right back.
People are being given 20 days to move their savings out of bank accounts.
This May 2nd, step into history at Ellis Island, where over 12 million immigrants first set foot on the path to the American dream. Experience an unforgettable evening with exclusive access to the museum, rare artifacts, live entertainment, and a powerful 3-course dinner inside one of the most iconic landmarks in the world. Hear from voices like Glenn Beck as we celebrate the heroes, the heritage, and the future of this great nation. As the night builds, fireworks will light up New York Harbor, honoring 250 years of freedom. And if you can't be there, the RAV team will be there on the ground for full minute-by-minute reporting. One nation, one story, one unforgettable night.
Hi, my name is Tracy Ellis from Arizona. I don't stink around in the kitchen when it comes to the news. I watch Real America's Voice, which always serves accurate and reliable updates that are on point with their amazing hosts. So don't find yourself in a pickle by tuning into the fake news. Stick with Real America's Voice.
Hi, my name's Paul Foyer. I'm Foyer04 in the Getter Chat. I love rap for all the Getter, all the War Room Posse, and all of you guys. Love y'all. Bye.
Hi, I'm Chris from Illinois, and I like to watch Real America's Voice in the War Room with Stephen K. Bannon for all the great guts to everyone from Kerry Lake, the great Frank Gaffney, Trump 24, Retribution.
Howdy, Rab fans. This is Warbringer here. Love you all. Rab is the only place to get the truth, and this is the only way we're going to be able to restore our republic. Love you all. See you in the chat.
Closer to big government, AMAC is growing stronger in Washington. The goal is to defend the values that made America great, and those would be faith, family, freedom, and opportunity. AMAC believes in freedom of religion and speech, the right to keep and bear arms, free enterprise and personal responsibility, common sense solutions instead of government control. AMAC also refuses to stand by while radical policies from blue states threaten our families, our livelihoods, our safety, and our future. AMAC is no longer just an alternative to AARP. It's the leading conservative voice for seniors and patriotic Americans. With a rapidly expanding presence in Washington, AMAC is standing toe-to-toe with the AARP's massive lobbying machine, and we are winning. So, join AMAC today and help replace failed big government policies with common sense pro-America solutions. America needs AMAC, and AMAC needs you. Stand with us today. Go to amac.us/RAV, that is amac.us/RAV, and join today. Welcome back to this Real America's Voice News Break. I'm Terrence Bates. Remember when President Trump was talking about making Canada the 51st state? While that may not happen, Alberta, Canada becoming the next American state feels a little bit more possible this morning. On Monday, an Alberta separatist group handed in a petition to trigger a referendum seeking to force the Canadian province to hold a vote on seceding from Canada. Almost 302,000 people signed that petition, meaning the issue could be voted on as soon as October. October. Alberta Premier, which is similar to a U.S. governor, says that she'll move forward on the referendum since advocates have secured more than the necessary signatures for the referendum. However, there are already legal challenges that will complicate getting the measure on the ballot and to a vote. Experts say if the vote is successful, Alberta wouldn't automatically get independence. It would actually require negotiations between the provincial and federal governments. That's a quick check of your headlines.
Letting everyone know socialism sucks. The Charlie Kirk Show.
Heard some cowbell in that, right, Caboose? There was cowbell in that. There was cowbell.
There was cowbell. That's excellent.
Yeah, that makes me happy. All right, so Hillsdale College, we're going to talk about learning for middle schoolers, younger kids in just a second because it's hugely important, something that we've been focused on more and more at Turning Point. Because, you got to start kids younger. You got to give them the zest of life and adventure. But if you are an adult out there or a younger guy, it's fine. If you didn't go to college, but you're still eager to learn, or you're in high school and you're eager to learn real truth, deep truths that Charlie loved to learn, check out Hillsdale College right now. Go to charlieforhillsdale.com to enroll today. Charlie loved learning. He loved Hillsdale. Took over 31 courses of their free online courses. Now they're up over 40, and these are well-produced courses. The video is spectacular. The visuals are spectacular. And through Hillsdale online courses, you get to learn about the classics, American founding, the enduring truths of the Bible and Scripture, the things that really make America great, that form the foundation of our values and our way of government. That's what you're going to find out at Hillsdale, and it's so important. I genuinely believe that if everybody was studying under Hillsdale, that we would probably have like 80-20 country. We would be 80%.
It would be a very different country.
It would be an amazing country. So go to charlieforhillsdale.com, charlieforhillsdale.com to enroll today. They got a new logic and rhetoric course that's amazing, by the way. charlieforhillsdale.com to enroll today. All right. Without further ado, I want to bring in our next two guests who have written an amazing new book. These are New York Times bestselling authors, Candace Lee and Eric Newman. They're the authors of a new book called George Goodwin, Dragon Slayer. I believe Bear Grylls is involved in the project. Candace and Eric, welcome to the Charlie Kirk Show.
Hey, good to be here.
Thanks so much for having us.
Nice backdrop. I love that. You got the branding's on point. All right, so I'm convinced that we got to get younger and younger people inspired. They need to be activated. They need to feel their own agency, the power of their own imagination. That's why I love what you guys are doing here. Tell us about it. It's a scouting legend, so I have questions about what you mean by that. But tell us about the book and why you wrote it.
Yeah. Well, there's a famous quote often attributed to G.K. Chesterton that really inspired us. And it's fairy tales exist not to tell children that dragons are real, but that they can be killed. And that really is the heart of the story, is we were inspired, yes, to tell a great story, a fun story, an exciting story that hooks readers. But we also, we all know that there are dragons everywhere, and we want to inspire young men and women to rise up and slay them.
Absolutely. Yeah, and just storyline-wise, it's about what you think it's about. It is a young guy who is faced with an impossible situation. He goes on a weekend camping trip and ends up having to save his whole town. But it really is at its core one of those David and Goliath stories, the kind of story that, we wanted the cover of the book, I'll just hold it up here. We wanted even the youngest reader to be able to look at that and know, okay, this is a story where somebody is going to defy the odds and do something that seems impossible. And so that's really our heart, is to inspire the next generation to see that you do have a hero inside you. And sometimes it might take something really scary, a dragon, to draw it out.
Yeah, so you say it. So there's a warning from Bear Grylls here. I love it. By the way, he goes, "Warning: this adventure is full of danger. It's got dragons and death, coal mines and cold-blooded killers, treasure and true love. The stuff legends are made of, but even more dangerous are the kids in this tale. They're tough, they're brave, and they're exactly the kind of heroes our world needs." And I kind of love the premise. It's like, so it's set in West Virginia, and you know that coal mines are strictly forbidden to go in, But 12-year-old George Goodwin knows something more. Deep underground lies a treasure that could save his town and clear his father's name. And so then he's with the scouting troop. So explain the tie-in with the scouting angle here.
Yeah. Well, we love stories where kids are in the driver's seat. You know, like we think back to like Goonies and even Jurassic Park, where there's kids who have to make choices in impossible situations. And Eric and I were sitting around years ago working actually on another project, and we were looking at a character who was a side character who was a scout. And the more we started talking about it, we're like, man, scouts are awesome. They are young people who actually know how to do things. You could throw them in any situation, and a scout could probably outperform me when it comes to survival, but they're just so broad in what they can do.
Yeah, and it's the rare place in society now. I mean, we talk about, get out and touch grass. It's the rare place where kids have a little bit of autonomy and they can adventure on their own, learn skills on their own. And we thought, man, this would be a fun place to start a story. So we imagined this 12-year-old boy, and we had kind of this lightning bolt brainstorm session. A 12-year-old boy, this should take place in West Virginia. We just could imagine a dragon in a coal mine. And then we thought, who would be the rest of the crew that helps take this dragon down? And we thought, it's a scouting patrol and his best friends. So it just kind of like naturally emerged. And it's the kind of story that we happen to love.
Yeah, and I appreciate that for sure. I'm an Eagle Scout myself. Charlie was an Eagle Scout as well. Were you in the Scouts?
Yeah. Nope.
Never. Oh,
no, I came from a ranching family that like my experience was literally just like on a horse in the desert.
It sounds like a great way to be a scout. But no, but it's appreciated because I'm sure we followed the travails of the main scouting organization, the Boy Scouts, which became the gender non-determinist Scouts.
But they're making
some progress.
They're coming back.
It's certainly been a saga. It's been difficult. It's been frustrating, and I suppose I appreciate you guys for evoking the classic image of a scout. I don't know if you describe any specific scouting group they're in, but that really is a set of values that was hugely useful in America, hugely positive for boys. And I approve of evoking that, even if we know that today, the left went after it precisely because it was such a good thing. Yeah, but it is coming back. I mean, they partnered with Secretary of War Hegseth, and they're making headway. I don't know if you have insights into that, if that's part of what's going on in the background here or not, but I agree with Blake that the values of scouting are so critically important to the next generation. That's why the left went after it, if we're being honest.
Yeah, there's something about there's not very many opportunities for young people to kind of put on a specific identity that carries the values of scouting. And, my son just became a scout. He's 6 years old, and he went on his first camp out as a lion cub. And it was interesting when he saw a picture of himself, I'm doing mom milestone. He saw a picture of himself in a uniform, and he looked at himself and he goes, "Oh my goodness, Mom, I look fearless." And then he came home from his first camp out, and I said, "Hey, I'm a little cold." He brought me the blanket and said, "I'm courteous, Mom, because I'm a scout." And there is something about stepping into an identity that carries virtue, that carries these responsibilities with them, that's something that we did want to kind of evoke with this story, that there's a young man who's not only, he's a scout, but he's stepping into this identity as a dragon slayer. And that's really broader than any one organization. That's something that all of us can aspire to.
When you look at the scout, you look at the scout, go ahead.
sorry. Well, someone on our staff was asking, George Dragon Slayer, is there symbolic meaning to the name? Obviously, there's St. George as the great dragon slayer.
George Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was part of our lightning bolt inspiration 15 years ago when we first started this. We're like, what's his name? And I remember Candace goes, "It's George. It's George, because this will be a modern day reimagining of the legend of St. George." And that just clicked with us. And so there's some St. George threads woven throughout the whole story.
Yeah. Oh, wow. And The cool thing is, like the Legend of St. George, it's a story that exists in lots of different cultures, but over time it's kind of been lost. And I think that speaks to how, there are so many great stories, the kind of stories that move and inspire us that have kind of gotten lost to this generation. And so we love the idea of being able to reimagine that, because we believe that the stories kind of work in this space of imagination that's ultimately the bridge between the heart and the mind. And, we want to take ideas that are out there and kind of help ground them in stories so that they can move from just being ideas to becoming, beliefs and convictions. And so that's just one of the things we love about storytelling.
So you would say that this book is probably best geared for what ages?
It's technically middle grade. So you're looking at like the Percy Jackson, the Percy Jackson audience. So they say like 4th to like 7th or 8th grade in that range. And that happens to be one of our favorite genres. We were both raised on Goonies. Yeah. And we love like adventurous stories where the stakes are really high. It's life or death. And but yeah, at the heart of the story is a group of kids.
Yeah, and we really did our best. We have this core group of characters that are so fun. They range from 12 to 17. But really, even the moms are awesome in the book. We kind of wanted to make it something that if a family sits around and reads it aloud, there is something that everybody can, everyone can enjoy, and also everyone can kind of aspire to in some ways. So, yeah, it's a fun story.
All right, so this is available like everywhere books are sold, from Target and Walmart, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, all the places, all the things. You guys are New York Times bestselling authors. What, you got 1 minute in this segment, Candace or Eric, real quick, your pitch to parents, why do they need a book like this for their kids?
Oh man, this started with a vision that we want to inspire young men and women to be prepared mentally, physically, spiritually to slay life's dragons. We know the world is full of dragons right now, and our heart is that this story will inspire young people to discover their God-given identity, to be a David versus a Goliath, or a dragon slayer to take on whatever dragons there are in their lives.
Yeah, there's a line from one of the characters, and she says, there's breath in my lungs. I'm here for something. I'm going to find out what. And we just want to connect young people to their purpose, to their destiny. And so that's why, you've heard the phrase, pay it forward. We're asking people to just slay it forward. Think of somebody who needs a story like that, because we believe that this can unlock identity and truth. And we are excited for families to discover that together.
Candace Lee, Eric Newman. It's the story. It's called George Goodwin, Dragon Slayer. And man, we have the most suicidal, drug addicted, depressed, anxiety-prone generation in American history. They need to be consuming this kind of stuff, filling their mind with it. Tremendous offering. And maybe it's not for you, but somebody in your life that needs this book, guys, their kids need this. They need something that will transport them and their minds to something better, more uplifting. So give it a look-see, and buy it for yourselves, buy it for your friends and family, and support people that are making good, positive content that really instills that American values, the Christian values. It's not overt, it's exciting and adventure. All right, Candace and Eric, stay right there. We're going to be back in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
This is Fubo. It's your way to watch ESPN and other top sports networks.
This May 2nd, step into history at Ellis Island, where over 12 million immigrants first set foot on the path to the American dream. Experience an unforgettable evening with exclusive access to the museum, rare artifacts, live entertainment, and a powerful 3-course dinner inside one of the most iconic landmarks in the world. Hear from voices like Glenn Beck as we celebrate the heroes, the heritage, and the future of this great nation. As the night builds, fireworks will light up New York Harbor, honoring 250 years of freedom. And And if you can't be there, the RAV team will be there on the ground for full minute-by-minute reporting. One nation, one story, one unforgettable night.
Hi, my name is Tracy Elf of Arizona. I don't stink around in the kitchen when it comes to the news. I watch Real America's Voice, which always serves accurate and reliable updates that are on point with their amazing hosts. So don't find yourself in a pickle by tuning into the fake news. Stick with Real America's Voice.
Hi, my name's Paul Foyer. I'm Poyo04 in the Getter Chat. I love rap for all the Getter, all the War Room Posse, and all of you guys. Love y'all. Bye.
Hi, I'm Chris from Illinois, and we like to watch Real America's Voice in the War Room with Stephen K. Bannon for all the great guts to everyone from Kerry Lake, the great Frank Gaffney, Trump 24, Retribution.
All right, welcome back to the Y-Refi Studios. I want to tell you guys about Strong Cell, strongcell.com. This stuff is amazing. By the way, you know, so many of these supplement brands, they put in all this junk that you don't want. The fillers, the artificial sweeteners and all this stuff. No. Not with Strong Cell. You know, Strong Cell employs a proprietary delivery system designed to ensure the ingredients effectively get into your bloodstream where they can truly make a difference. This is crucial as many supplements on the market are just pretty packaging without real benefits. This has NADH, which is the type of NAD that's most absorbent, and it's a liquid formula, also really good for absorption. So check it out, strongcell.com. You need to power your cells, your cells in your body. Gives your mitochondria the energy they need. This is a powerful breakthrough enzyme that's all the rage. It's one of Charlie's favorite supplements, and it's worked wonders for me, especially in the morning, I will say. That has been my big breakthrough with NADH. So check it out. Over 2 million units sold. 2 million units sold. So many of them are in this audience. So thank you for supporting this great company with great patriots running it. So visit strongcell.com. Use promo code Charlie for 20% off your order. That's strongcell.com. Promo code Charlie. Give it 6 to 8 weeks, or even 4 to 6 weeks, but 6 to 8 weeks. And guess what? You get a 90-day risk-free money-back guarantee, so there's no reason not to try it. Strongcell.com. Love this stuff. Great partners of the show, great patriots, and a great product, most importantly. All right, so we are joined by Candace Lee and Eric Newman, authors of the new book called George Goodwin, Dragon Slayer. I didn't even have it in front of me. I just did that. It's a good name. All right, so let's talk about woke literature for this kind of age group. What are kids up against? Like, what are they reading in schools? Because it's so important that they have alternatives that are actually good, exciting, daring, adventurous. I love that you have Bear Grylls involved in this, who's Mr. Adventure. But what are they up against in schools?
I mean, everything. You name it. You know, when we first started, again, as we said, we just love these kinds of stories. You know, we're Goonies at heart. But for us, as important as the story itself is why we're telling it. And we had come across, this is 14, 15 years old by now. We'd come across this TED Talk called The Demise of Guys. It's fascinating TED Talk. You can look it up. I think there's a book, and it's two psychologists, and this is not from a faith perspective. This is just clinical psychologists. And they were talking about the incredibly rough trajectory of young boys becoming men, and how immersive worlds of video gaming and online pornography and social media, how it's just wreaking havoc on a generation. And one of the big questions to ask is, you know, it touches on is the universal question that every young man, really all of us ask, is, do I have what it takes? And when we read this, like, just utterly sobering statistic, we were like, this is why we have to tell this story. We have to tell this story. You know, it took us 15 years to get here. And one of the stories I tell often is that, you know, what kept you going? I took my son on a father-son camp out when he was 3. And he was by far the youngest kid, but I thought, he'll be fine. and he wore diapers at night. He came out of the tent, and all these other boys saw him and started laughing at him and pointing and said, "You're a baby, you're a baby, you're just a baby." I was like devastated. I run over there to intervene, and my son is laughing. And he says, "I'm not a baby, I'm a dragon slayer." And I just stood there and I was like, oh my gosh, all these stories I've been telling him, all the insults didn't stick. All the mockery, all that kind of stuff, none of it stuck because he knew who he was. Mm-hmm. And that's our heart. You know, it's like everything is thrown at kids nowadays from social media and school and who they are and who they aren't. But if they know who God calls them, like none of that other stuff sticks.
Mm-hmm. That is so true. I mean, life is a series of things that get in your way, that knock you down, that beat you up, call you names, accuse you of things. And it's how you respond that is ultimately going to define the person. And what is it? It's like life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you choose to react to it. And that resiliency and the courage, building that up in kids. I had a similar story with my son this weekend, actually. And he looked at me, he was scared to go on this ride. And he said, "Dad, I'm going to choose to be brave." And he went and did it. And I was like, yes, you know, like it's getting in there somewhere where I'm like, you got to be brave, son. You got. And he looked at me and he said, "I'm choose to be brave. I'm scared, but I'm going to choose to be brave." Awesome. I was so proud of him. And those are the lessons that we need to be getting through. Not that you're a victim, not that there's nothing you can do about anything, not that, you know, ultimately your fate is sealed and all is awful. That's not the American spirit either. And I think that's, again, go back to Scouts. Scouts was about giving you agency and power over your dominion. And, yeah, I think bad things happen, but ultimately we want young people to be the type of people that can overcome the obstacles that are thrown in their life. All right, Blake, final question to you. You're the Scout. You're the Eagle Scout here.
Well, I guess a natural follow-up, is there going to be a sequel? Is he going to defeat other monsters?
Yes, we are happy to say this is actually the first in a 3-book series. So it's the Order of the Dragon Slayer series. That's why you don't want to fall behind. You got to read the first one. But we are actually furiously writing the second one, dreaming up the third one. And we're so thrilled to be able to take families on not just one great adventure, but a whole epic. So
it's not going to take 15 years, though, right? We're going to get the next one.
No, what might be referring to someone there.
Yeah, well, they said it took them 15 years.
It'll be out. The next one will be out next summer sometime.
Great. Well, congratulations on your book. I think this stuff is so important. I wanted to devote as much time as we could in the show because we need stuff that feels like the 90s again. That's what I think. It's basically like go back to like the way things used to be when we all had our sanity and before social media. Candace Lee, Eric Newman, congratulations. Check out the book. Get it. It's wherever books are sold. Get it for somebody in your family or a friend. God bless you both.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having us.
All right. God bless you guys. All right, final minute here. It's Cinco de Mayo, and
we're going to go have tacos today.
We're going to go have tacos. I'm not because I'm still getting over the stomach bug thing. I look, maybe skinnier. Maybe that's the thing. I haven't eaten in like 2 days.
Well, if you need to, you know what they say, if you need to purge a lot of stuff from your system,
just get sick.
Get some tacos.
Well, listen.
Get some really spicy tacos.
Yes.
At like a really authentic Mexican place.
That'll purge me. Yeah. So here's what I want you to do today in this final 30 seconds that we have together. The Democrats are going all in, hitting ICE. I want you to go public today, somewhere, whatever your preferred social platform is, and defend ICE. That is your homework today. Defend the brave men and women that keep this country safe and secure, and go tell Leader Thune that you want the Save America Act passed. So we want New Mexico to be a Republican state. We want Nevada to be firmly in our column. So go say something nice about ICE. They keep us safe, and they're heroes, and I refuse to let them be defamed and maligned by these open border cabals that just want to loot our Medicaid funds. God bless you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then.
Half protection is not enough.
This May 2nd, step into history at Ellis Island, where over 12 million immigrants first set foot on the path to the American dream. Experience an unforgettable evening with exclusive access to the museum, rare artifacts, live entertainment, and a powerful 3-course dinner inside one of the most iconic landmarks in the world. Hear from voices like Glenn Beck as we celebrate the heroes, the heritage, and the future of this great nation. As the night builds, fireworks will light up New York Harbor, honoring 250 years of freedom. And if you can't be there, the RAV team will be there on the ground for full minute-by-minute reporting. One nation, one story, one unforgettable night.
Hi, my name is Tracy L. from Arizona. I don't stink around in the kitchen when it comes to the news. I watch Real America's Voice, which always serves accurate and reliable updates that are on point with their amazing hosts. So don't find yourself in a pickle by tuning into the fake news. Stick with Real America's Voice.
Hi, my name's Paul Foyer. I'm Poyo04 in the Getter Chat. I love rap for all the Getter, all the War Room Posse, and all of you guys. Love y'all. Bye.
Hi, I'm Chris from Illinois. We like to watch Real America's Voice in the War Room with Stephen K. Bannon for all the great guts. Everyone from Kerry Lake, the great Frank Gaffney, Trump 24, Retribution.
Real America's Voice. We don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
I'm fueled up now. Woo!
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel, film yourself cracking one open, and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge, and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Drink what the RAV hosts drink. Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.